Cool. So, Daniel is going to be role-playing this, acting like the customer. If I were you guys, I would probably have your manual out. And at any point that you hear me say, all right, Daniel, or all right, Mr. Jones, go ahead and click for me, I would write in the word click in your manual, just so you have these points down. So that would be the big thing. I'm going to role play this with Daniel as if Daniel was like somebody in Lexington that had recommended me to Daniel. Like Daniel is a friend of a customer I had seen in Lexington who, lives in Nebraska or something like that. Because I realized that a lot of you probably have family that you could show the virtual demo to, but at the same time, you're going to understand how to build rapport with family members or people that are out of the area. You just catch up with them. So I'm going to do it that way, and we'll go from there. All right. Ring, ring, ring. Ring, ring.
Hello?
Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hey, is this Daniel?
Yeah, it is.
Hey, Daniel, this is Tyler Nichols with Cutco Cutlery.
Oh, yeah, how are you doing?
I am doing well, doing well. I was just giving you a call. I see it's 6:46, so technically I am a minute late. Hopefully that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine, no problem.
Okay, perfect. So do you happen to have your laptop or computer out in front of you?
I do.
Perfect. So up in the search engine or where you would type in a normal URL, like Google or Facebook, whatever it may be, go ahead and type in there for me viewcutco.com, and then whenever the page loads, just tell me what you see.
Okay, it says Cutco Online Demo, the world's finest cutlery.
Okay, perfect. So then in the middle, you probably have a square that says Start Prezi, is that right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Now go ahead and click that for me, and on the bottom of the screen you probably see a big gray toolbar, is that right?
Okay.
And you probably see a blue toolbar going across?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Well, what's happening right now is it's just loading all the videos that we've got. This thing's pretty cool, I will tell you. If I was meeting with you in person, I'm not this cool. So it is pretty beneficial that you are out in Nebraska to check this out. But anyway, you probably see now if that blue toolbar is done loading, you probably see in the left-hand corner, do you see like a spinning wheel?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So that's loading everything up for us. Go ahead and on the opposite end of that gray toolbar, go ahead and hit the button that's the full screen button.
Okay.
Perfect. All right, and then does it pop up a little message in the middle?
Yeah.
Okay, does it say like allow full screen keyboard controls? Okay, just go ahead and click allow for me. And we're gonna wait until this all these videos get done loading. There's quite a few of them, and if we were to go ahead and start, I don't know where your videos are loaded to or where mine are, and I'm okay at the computer. I'm pretty tech savvy, but I'm not that legit. So I wouldn't want to waste like a whole day of your time trying to figure out when to get these videos loaded and all that good stuff. Is that cool?
Okay.
Perfect. So Daniel, while these are loading, tell me how exactly do you know Susan? Because I know they've lived in Lexington for the past like 10 years. How do you guys know each other?
They're my neighbor.
They're your neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have like a vacation home in Lexington or?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So like how? I got to tell you, Daniel, it's pretty interesting to have a vacation home in Lexington. Do you have anything to do with like the horses or anything like that?
I just really love horses.
Yeah. Okay. So do you probably come up here for like Keeneland and the Derby and all that good stuff?
Yep.
Very nice. Very nice. So did you is that how you originally met Susan or?
Yeah, I met her at a Derby actually. So.
Okay. Cool. So then you probably know Bob as well, her husband.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. So. How long have you had that house in Lexington?
About 5 years.
About 5 years, and then what about Nebraska? Did you always live there?
Yeah, I grew up there.
Yeah, very nice. Now that's the Nebraska, is the corn?
Yes.
Corn husker. Are you a big Nebraska fan?
It's home.
I hear you. So what do you do for a living out there in Nebraska?
I work I'm a regional supervisor.
Regional supervisor. Big name. I'm talking to a big shot then, huh?
Yep, something like that.
Very cool. So what, Daniel, what are you a regional supervisor of?
For a cutting board company.
For a cutting board company.
Yep.
Interesting. You guys don't have anything to do with Cutco's cutting boards, do you?
Nope.
Good to know. Good to know. I would have felt cheated if I didn't know that. So tell me about the cutting boards. Is that like something you always wanted to do?
It just kind of where my life led me.
Okay.
I went to school for business marketing, and they just offered me a job right out of college.
Very cool. Very cool. So then I guess you're married out there in Nebraska. Got a family and everything?
Yep.
Good deal. How many kids do you guys have?
2, a boy and a girl.
Boy and a girl. Are they close together in age?
They're about 3 years.
About 3 years. Very cool. Now are they younger? Are they older? Are they moved out of the house?
They're in high school, both of them.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Daniel, how's that going?
It's rough. It's rough some days.
Now, which one's older, the boy or the girl?
The boy's older.
Boy is older. Okay.
So that helps a little bit.
Helps a little, but I bet has he started to get all protective about little sis?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I only reason I ask is one of my good buddies in high school. He had a younger sister that was like 3 years apart from him, and literally, hopefully your son's not like this, but literally any male that talked to her, he's a large guy. He's now in the Army, but he would literally jump down their throats. So your son's not like that, or is he still growing on that concept?
Not quite that bad, no.
Okay, good. Well, you should just tell him, hey, don't be like the Army guy.
Okay, I will.
Very, very nice. Well, hey, let's see. If you move your mouse around, do you still have the little loading wheel?
No, I think it's done.
You say you think it's done?
Yeah.
All right. Mine is still cooking a little bit, so we're gonna wait. Oh, Daniel, we are ready to rock.
All right.
Are you good to go?
I'm good.
You got the seatbelt on?
I do.
All right, let's rock and roll. So Daniel, you can do one of two options with this. It's pretty simple. One thing you could do is either you see the little arrow buttons on your keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
You could either just click the right arrow whenever I tell you to click, or if you see in the middle of the screen you've got the 2 arrows, one right, one left.
Mm-hmm.
You could just keep your mouse over the right arrow and go ahead and click whenever I tell you to.
Okay.
Whatever's easiest for you. I will say I know there's a lot of stuff on here, a lot of cool stuff to look at, but again, back to my less than par tech skills. I'm just going to ask that you only click that arrow when I ask you to click, because if you run off from me or if I run off from you, this is going to be horrible. I mean, I just got a new car. It's got pretty good gas mileage, but I would literally have to drive all the way to Nebraska to get us fixed up. So is that cool with you?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Okay. Perfect. Well, let's rock and roll. Go ahead and click the right arrow there for me.
Okay.
Perfect. So what do you see there? Do you see a little
person and a bridge made out of puzzle pieces?
Very odd picture,
Yeah.
I will say. I just at this point I just want to tell you a little bit about why I'm working with Cutco, why I do such a weird job as far as selling knives go. I will say, Daniel, I feel like I'm in good company since you help out with cutting boards, so we're kind of brothers on this one. But the reason I'm working with Cutco is they've got really, really flexible schedules, and myself being a full-time student, just trying to make a little bit of income to be able to pay for books and parking passes and all the stuff that goes along with school. I also recently moved out of my parents' house, and so I've got the monthly rent there on the apartment. Also just trying to get some pretty good resume experience for the future. And actually one thing, and go ahead and click the right button for me.
Okay.
Does it zoom in and say All-American?
Yeah.
Cool. One other thing is that because I am a student, the All-American Scholarship race, it's something the company does. It actually gives me the opportunity to earn some money for school. And it's based on sales, so I know if I keep a full schedule, I've got a chance at winning a scholarship. And then also at the end of the appointment, I'll tell you how you can sponsor me for my automatic sponsorship. I know it sounds pretty crazy, but I got to tell you, sponsorship, especially one that's automatic, you don't pass those up. I know you probably know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Tough crowd with Daniel. Tough crowd. All right. Well, hey. Anyway, like I told you on the phone, you totally don't have to get anything because I do get paid just to show it. But if you do see something you like today, definitely don't hesitate to get it. And just so you know, we do have monthly investment options. So if you were to see something you like, you don't have to pay for it all at once. So just something to keep in mind. Again, thanks for taking the time to see my presentation today. It definitely really means a lot.
Okay.
Okay, good deal. So go ahead and click a right arrow there for me, Daniel.
Okay.
And tell me what you see.
It says Cutco Corporation.
Perfect. So I want to tell you a little bit about the company as far as Cutco goes. Now, you had mentioned that you have never heard of Cutco, is that right?
Right.
Okay. Well, just so you know a little bit about us, we've been in business since 1949. We just had one of our best years ever, selling over $250 million worth of this stuff, which does make us the top-selling American-made brand of cutlery in the U.S. I will also tell you, people are buying Cutco really now more than ever. We just recently reached 17 million customers, and the primary way that anybody can purchase Cutco is through a representative like me. But do you ever watch, like on History Channel or Food Network, have you ever seen the shows like Unwrapped or Made in America or How It's Made?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, cool. You may have actually seen Cutco featured on one of those programs. All the Cutco knives, they are made in the United States in our factory located in Olean, New York. And as far as the Modern Marvels episode goes, we were featured on that as the world's sharpest kitchen cutlery, which is pretty cool. I don't think we had the world's best cutting boards, though, so we may have to work something out there as far as that goes. But Consumers Digest also has given Cutco their Best Buy certificate just because it's been independently tested as both sharpest out of the box, also holds the edge longer than any other brand. And we also have multiple products that have received the Cooking Club of America's and the Gardening Club of America's stamps of approval. So, now, do you remember, Daniel, did you see the Modern Marvels episode where Cutco was on there?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool. So check this out. We're about to get so next level on this tech stuff. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right, give me your right arrow.
All right.
Today,
check that out.
Enemy,
Check that out.
So
this is the Modern Marvels episode, Daniel, that we were featured on. It's not going to go through the entire episode, but this will definitely give you a good idea as far as like how Cutco's manufactured and all that good stuff. Cool.
Okay.
Claims to create the sharpest kitchen knives in the world. In the first step of the brutal three-part heat treat process, a conveyor feeds newly stamped, unsharpened.
Tell me that furnace doesn't look brutal, Daniel.
It does. I don't want to go through it.
I'm with you. Actually, I was in the factory going through management training about a year or so ago. That freezer, guy squirted a water bottle on it. As soon as water hit it, totally froze.
Really?
Yeah, I've never seen anything like
now
it before.
95 thousandths of an inch thick, passes through an automatic grinder, which tapers its edge to just 18 thousandths of an inch. Now here comes the process that will turn these edges into the world's sharpest.
So one thing that I really appreciate about Cutco and most of my customers do is that as far as the edge goes, we put all the edges on by hand. It's not a factory where, there's two people working on the floor and a bunch of machines. We employ about a 15th of the working class in the city of Olean. So about 1,000 people out of the 15,000 that live in Olean actually work in the factory, which is pretty cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
The cutting edge now measures a super thin 1/10,000th of an inch, 20 times thinner than a human hair.
I don't really know how they measure that as far as like laying a hair out on a ruler, but I think that'll tell you it is pretty sharp, it's pretty thin, and I just want to show that to you because it tells you a little bit about how Cutco's made and manufactured. So go ahead and click the right arrow again for me.
Okay.
And this video is just to really just demonstrate. I just want to show you a product that demonstrates the quality of Cutco. These are our super shears. They're just kitchen scissors. Do you ever use kitchen scissors for anything?
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah. Now you're like most of my customers, and you probably use your scissors for what this guy's doing, cutting up pennies, right?
Can't say that I do.
No?
No, I don't think so.
Huh. Daniel, I don't know if these are the right scissors for you then, because that's about what all my customers use them for. Obviously, I'm just kidding. That was just to kind of show you the quality. These are good for just about anything that can go between them, whether it's broccoli like you see him doing here. Do you guys ever do broccoli or anything like that? Fresh broccoli?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes?
We're more meat people.
More meat people, huh?
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, hey, they would also work pretty well. I know. Do you guys ever do crab legs or anything?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes. I know I really like to use them when I get crab legs at the store. I'll make my own crab legs, and I never thought that I would use them for this, but having those shears makes it so much easier doing crab legs or anything like that. And this is really what I use mine the most for. I'm guessing if you're not doing a lot of vegetables or anything like that, you're probably cutting up that tougher stuff like the hard plastic around electronics. So again, that was just to show you a little bit about the quality of the product. So if you go ahead and click the right arrow, tell me what you see.
I see some really bad looking knives.
Really bad looking knives. And then do I have a smashed tomato
on the left? Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. I'm going to be honest, I don't really know where they got that picture from. I don't know who could smash a tomato that bad, but it is there. So this is really where the idea for Cutco came about. These are really the world's most expensive set of knives, and the reason for that, Daniel, is that they're made and designed really to break down over time, which causes a high replacement cost for customers. And the average knife that you would find at a place like Target or Walmart or Best Buy or Sam's Club, the average knife actually breaks or goes dull within 2 years. So most households end up wasting a ton of money just replacing cheap knives over and over.
Right.
Now, Daniel, do you guys have mostly wooden or plastic handles?
Mostly plastic.
Mostly plastic?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's typically what most of my customers have. I know like the ones up at the top, the wooden handles with the rust on them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure like your parents, right, or like your wife's parents probably have knives like those.
Right.
Yeah. Typically, you don't see a whole lot of those anymore just because of how unsanitary they are with the rust on the blade. But I gotta ask you, because I always like to ask the customers that I meet with. I just want to make sure that the things that I'm saying are actually correct. By the way, how long have you and your wife been married?
10 years.
10 years. Okay. So did you guys probably got a knife set like as soon as you got married?
Yeah.
As a wedding gift? How many times have you replaced that, or have you replaced it?
We've replaced it once.
Once?
Yeah.
Okay. And as far as the set that you replaced it with, was that 5 years ago, 2 years ago?
It was about 3 or 4, I think.
About 3 years ago. Okay. How are those holding up?
They're okay. They're not the sharpest, but they work.
Cool. So they've kind of dulled a little bit.
Yeah.
Good. Well, that makes me feel better that I'm speaking the truth. I will tell you, as far as plastic handles, a lot of my customers tell me that they're pretty unsafe just because they'll chip or crack or break. They'll even melt if they get heated up. And the thing that's really unsafe about them is that they are usually glued together, and they fall apart pretty easily in the dishwasher, especially, which is really safe for kids because you can never tell how well that glue is actually holding until one day you just press down really hard and it snaps.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had a customer who was pressing down on some frozen hamburger meat and had a knife snap on him, and literally this guy had the biggest scar I've ever seen across the middle of his hand.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, and it's awful, but what was kind of funny about it was his wife laughed at him when they showed it to me, so I got a kick out of that. But
that's funny.
yeah, they do get pretty slippery when they're wet, which is really dangerous when you're cutting. And as far as the construction, again, it's normally glued into the handle. I will tell you, as far as a lot of the rivets go, a lot of the rivets, they're made of brass or stainless steel, which will expand or contract, which creates gaps for food particles to get down into. And then, as far as your plastic handles, those are probably stainless steel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Stainless steel, it is a great steel for a knife because it is more sanitary. It doesn't rust or corrode. But the difficult thing with a stainless steel knife is I kind of call it the won't knife because it won't rust, pit, or corrode, but it also doesn't stay sharp, and it's pretty difficult to sharpen, which is probably what you've seen in the last 2, 3, 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as the edges go, you'll see two types. The set that you guys have, excuse me, is it mainly serrated or straight?
It's mostly straight.
You probably have a few serrated edge knives in there.
Yeah, I don't really use them as much.
Got it. Okay, it's probably a good choice. It's just because serrated edges, they'll normally rip and tear through things versus make a straight cut.
Right.
Also, can't really ever be resharpened. And then with straight edges, obviously they do make a smooth cut, but they dull pretty quickly. Need that constant resharpening. And the next point I'm going to tell you, Daniel, I'm following my notes right now, just so I can do a halfway decent job. The next point talks about the cutting surface is actually what dulls a knife, and
Okay.
I would be willing to bet that you could tell me which sort of a surface a knife needs to not dull it. What do you think?
Polypropylene?
Polypropylene?
Yeah.
Yes. The reason I say yes, by the way, Daniel, is because our cutting boards are made of polypropylene. You probably know, as far as like granite, glass, things like that, they actually
Right.
are the thing that can dull the knife the most. And the biggest problem, really, Daniel, with knives like these is that they're never sharp, and a dull knife is absolutely more dangerous than a sharp one, just because typically you're a little less careful with it. You'll press down harder, apply more pressure. Versus where if you have a sharp knife, you're probably more likely to recognize that and be a little safer with it. Would you agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So now that we're done talking about all that junk, let me just go ahead and show you why Cutco, or how Cutco has solved all of those problems we just mentioned. So click the right arrow, and you tell me where we go.
Features and benefits.
Features and benefits. The old F's and the B's or the C. Sorry, Daniel, I know that sounds a little vulgar. It's just the features and benefits of Cutco. So there's really 5 features that make Cutco the world's finest set of cutlery. I also just like to call us like the Rolls Royce of kitchen cutlery. I'm sure you're probably a fan of the Rolls.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a Rolls, by the way, do you?
No.
It's a shame. It's a shame. I don't either. I wish I had one. But as far as this goes, one thing I would do if I was with you is I would hand you one of the knives just so you could see how it feels in your hand. The first thing I'll talk about there in the top right-hand corner is just where it says Hand Perfect Handle.
Mm-hmm.
This was designed by an industrial designer named Thomas Lamb. He studied over 700 pairs of hands to come up with this design that would, one, as you can see, it would be a universal fit, whether it's a large or small hand, left or right hand. Your thumb and forefinger lock into place for safety and control. Also helps reduce hand fatigue if you're doing a lot of cutting in the kitchen. And we use a thermo resin material. Are you a big bowler at all, Daniel? I know it's a random question, but
Once in a while.
once in a while.
Yeah.
What about as far as your son goes? Did he play football, or did you play football?
Yeah. You do.
Okay, cool. Only reason I ask is thermo resin is the same sort of material that's used in a bowling ball or a football helmet.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we went with that because it is a lot tougher. It's going to resist the chipping and cracking and breaking that you would see in a plastic handle knife. Also, it doesn't fade or stain over time. It's dishwasher safe, and it's non-porous. So unlike a wood, it's not going to absorb anything.
Right.
Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Good deal. Then the next thing we'll chat about would be the construction. I won't take a whole lot of time on this. There is an industry standard for a knife to be considered safe. It's just that it be triple riveted, so it has 3 rivets, and then it has a full tang. Do you know what a tang is, Daniel? Have you ever heard of that?
Is that where the steel goes back in the handle?
Smart guy. I got to tell you, when I heard that when I first got started with Cutco, I had no idea what that meant. But you're correct. We've got a full tang. It goes all the way down through the handle. We also, as far as our rivets go, versus a brass or a stainless steel, we use what's called nickel silver. Same material that Boeing uses to hold the wings of their aircraft to the body of the plane.
Okay.
Yeah. And obviously, Daniel, it costs a lot more to use stuff like thermo resin and nickel silver rivets to use those in the manufacturing of a knife. But we just kind of figured, like, hey, if it's good enough to protect somebody's head while they're playing football, or good enough to hold the wings of an airplane to the body of that airplane, it's probably good enough to hold the knife together.
Right.
Yeah. For the steel we use a high carbon surgical stainless steel. It's the highest quality steel you could possibly use on a kitchen cutlery. Very similar to what a doctor will use on their surgical instruments like scalpels, things like that. And we went with it just because you really get the best of the both worlds that we were just talking about. So like a stainless steel, It does resist the corrosion and the rusting, so it's more sanitary, but then also like a carbon steel, it does hold a pretty keen edge.
Okay.
Cool. Now, I know we had mentioned the serrated edges on a knife.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you mentioned that you don't use yours a whole lot. Is there any reason for that?
I just don't like that how they cut as much.
Don't like how they cut? Okay, cool. So we realized that that was probably an issue that most of our customers saw, and so we came up with an edge. It's exclusive to Cutco. You can't find it on any other knife. It's called our double D edge that you'll see there. It's got a few points on it. But go ahead and click the right arrow for me.
Okay.
Wait, test.
And what he's doing is he's doing a cutting comparison to show how a double D edge works on the rope compared to a normal straight edge
Nice clean edge.
and a normal serrated edge. So right there he just did the straight edge. You heard him in that
Serrated
very
knife cut.
monotone voice.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So here's the serrated edge.
A lot of ripping, tearing, fraying.
Do you feel like yours would probably do the same thing?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, cool. So here's the Cutco double D. So check this out.
Cutco test.
Oh,
Nice clean cut.
Nice.
right on that polypropylene too.
Yeah,
How sick was that?
that's pretty cool.
Very cool. So click a right arrow and let me just kind of explain why that works the way that it does. What did you get a zoom in to the handle design? Or
Yeah,
excuse
yeah,
me,
to
the
the big
blade
edge.
design?
Yeah.
Cool. So what you'll see, it's got pointed out, you have 3 cutting surfaces. You have 2 that go at 45-degree angles, 1 that's completely horizontal, and those 3 surfaces are actually protected by the points. So what happens is when that comes in contact with a plate or a cutting board, it actually doesn't ever dull the knife because none of my edges are being touched.
Okay.
But then the benefit is, unlike a serrated edge where the points do all the cutting, the points just protect these 3 edges. So it does give us the ability to cut not just forwards and backwards, but also straight up and straight down, which is probably why you saw it cuts more like a straight edge. And I will tell you, most of our customers, most of the people that I've sold Cutco to, which is quite a few people, most of them are going anywhere from like 10 to 12 years before they ever need to have their Cutco touched up. And that's also the other benefit to the double D edge is it can be sharpened.
Oh, okay.
Like
really?
a normal serrated edge. Yeah, which is pretty cool. And by the way, not all of our knives have that double D edge. Double D edge obviously is used for just like cutting back and forth, like a steak, chicken, fish. I know you said you guys are meat eaters.
Right.
And then your straight edges are used for like slicing, dicing, precision cutting, all that good stuff.
Gotcha.
Cool. So go ahead and give me a right arrow click. And does it have the forever guarantee?
It sure does.
Okay, cool. So as far as our forever guarantee goes, I don't know if you've ever seen a product like this or a guarantee like this, but essentially what this means is that if you were to choose to purchase Cutco today, you're going to have the same product with the same exact quality 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now because of this guarantee. We are the only product, Daniel, I'll tell you, that you can buy once, you can use it every day, and you never have to replace. You wouldn't need a sales receipt. The product is your proof of purchase. Literally, you could throw your Cutco out the window as you're driving down the highway. I don't know why you'd do that, but you could, and whoever picked that up could send that in and get it repaired and fixed and get it sent back to them. And so there's 4 parts to the guarantee. The first part you'll see there is forever performance. Just says if you're ever not completely satisfied with how it's performing or if any problems come up with it, send it back and we'll try to correct the problem. If we feel like we can't correct it, we'll just replace it, send you a new one.
Okay.
There's a sharpness guarantee, and yeah, we use the highest quality steel you could possibly use, but it is steel. It is going to go dull at some point, and whenever that time comes, you can send those back to the factory. We'll put a brand new factory edge on it, hone it, polish it, sharpen it, send it back to you like brand new. Only thing you would pay for would be the shipping. It's either $7 or $10, depends on how many pieces you send. There's also, Daniel, I don't know, you don't really strike me as the MacGyver type, but do you ever get those odd feelings on a Saturday of becoming a MacGyver for a day?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Well, if you were to do that with Cutco and use it as like a paint can opener, a screwdriver, break the tip off, you could send that back, and we would. As far as the guarantee goes, it says we'll replace it at half the current retail value. But I got to tell you, if you were honest about it, as far as like the note you wrote in the box, we'd probably just replace it. which is pretty cool. You don't have any bamboo growing in your backyard, do you?
No.
Okay, I know it's an odd question, especially in Nebraska, but we had a customer a few years ago who had bamboo growing in her yard, and she took our cleaver, which is like a 2-pound knife, and decided she was going to hack away at this bamboo. Needless to say, she ruined the edge of her knife, and she was actually honest about it when she sent it back in. She just said, hey, I was chopping down bamboo. Customer service just got a kick out of it. They just gave her a new one for free.
Okay.
So at any point, if bamboo shoots start to sprout up in your backyard, just know that you're covered.
I'll keep my eye out.
Good, good. And then last thing is a 15-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Just gives you 15 business days after you receive the product. So essentially 3 weeks to try it out in your home, make sure it's right for you and your family. And if for some reason it were to not be, it's not a big deal. You give me a call, I'll help you send it back. We'll give you a full refund, no questions asked.
Nice.
So, obviously, Daniel, I do get paid to say good things about the product. I am a little biased. So, if you click the right arrow, this will be a video of people from like Cutco will do fairs and shows, like a trade show or a home show.
Okay.
And this is from one in California. It's just a lot of customers coming up to the booth and saying what they think
You know,
about
if
Cutco.
you need a good knife in your kitchen, get a Cutco. It's the best investment I ever made, yeah. I've had my Cutco for 25 years.
We've had our Cutco more than 20 years.
It's almost 40 years. 50 years?
At least 50 years.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I like the grip of the handles and just the way all the knives cut. They're a great knife. They last forever.
And of course, there's always the availability to have them sharpened again. So
There you
Of
go.
course it was.
The husband
Definitely
says
worth
something.
an investment in
Yeah.
Cutco.
I would definitely recommend it to our friends. We recommended it to our son and daughter-in-law, and they bought some.
I would recommend Cutco to anybody that has to cut anything.
My girlfriend, 25 years ago, her son started selling Cutco. She called me up and asked me to give her son a break because he had gotten a new job. And I said, sure, I don't mind. He came to my house and he displayed all the different knives. No hesitation.
Years ago, my brother and sister-in-law, they knew somebody that was selling it, and he was a college student, and he came to our home and did the demonstration, and that's when we first got the knives.
One of my son's friends was selling it in high school. And he came over and sold it. And
I
wanted to
gotta
help
say,
him out.
I don't mean to cut off this
that
very
Cutco
nice
was
woman, but
one of
I've
the
always found it
products in there.
strange that, like, very, very sharp knives, the main, I guess, employee for the company, they're all, like, college kids and high school kids.
Yeah.
Just running around with the sharpest knives ever.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Very cool. So again, I just play that for you just so you can see what a lot of the customers say, just get their opinion on it. But if you go ahead and click the right arrow, we'll go ahead and look at a few of the pieces. And you know, I'll tell you as far as this goes, Daniel, I don't want to waste your time going through a lot of this stuff. I want to make sure that what I show you, even if you have no plans on purchasing today, I want to make sure that what I show you is actually things that you would use. Does that make sense?
Okay.
I don't want to show you a bunch of stuff that you feel like you wouldn't use. So we've got several options. We do have 2 larger sets for people who just love to cook, and I can show you that later. But this is our basic set. It's called the Homemaker. It's really our most popular set, and this was designed by a group of experts to have the minimum number of tools just to be able to do 100% of the jobs in your kitchen as efficiently as possible. So I will tell you, Daniel, this is really the best value for the average family. And as far as this goes, I'll tell you, it may look like quite a few pieces, but as far as this goes, there's a tool for every purpose and a purpose for every tool. Does that make
Okay.
sense? So just to make sure that we're not wasting any time here, I just want to ask you a couple questions just so I can get a good idea of what sort of cooking you guys are doing.
Sure.
So how many times would you say that out of the week that you're making a meal at the house, whether it's like a sandwich for the kids for lunch or breakfast or dinner?
I mean, a meal probably six days a week.
Probably 6 days a week. And are you guys like eating at home as far as dinner goes all 6 nights of the week, or you just say it's
No,
kind of
probably 3 or 4 nights a week of dinner.
Okay, cool. So you're cooking at home pretty frequently then.
Right.
Okay. Now, do you do most of the cooking, or does your wife do that?
Mostly me.
Mostly you. Okay. Good deal. Good deal. Well, so again, just to make sure that that we're on the right option here for you, are you doing like small fruits and vegetables? Do you ever do like strawberries, bananas for cereal? Do you ever peel apples with a paring knife or anything along those lines?
Occasionally, not a whole lot.
Occasionally, but you'd say like 2, 3, 4 times a month probably.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. What about like, are you guys ever doing? I know you said that you're probably more meat eaters, so are you ever doing like kebabs as far as like a steak kebab with
Yeah,
like tomatoes and onions and celery, all that good stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you said you're a big sandwich guy. You're doing sandwiches for the kids or yourself for work and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Okay. What about? Do you guys ever do like? Do you ever smoke or grill like pork tenderloin or anything along those lines? Do you ever get the?
Yeah. Okay.
yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. What about? Do you ever do a lot of prep work as far as like dicing onions and carrots and celery or anything like that?
Yeah. For like
Yeah.
stir fries and stuff.
Okay. And then let's see. I know you said meat eater, but do you guys do fruit during the summer, like watermelon, pineapple,
Yeah,
cantaloupe?
to go with barbecue stuff like that.
Okay, cool. And then let's see. What about like birthday cakes and stuff like that? Do you guys have birthday cakes and stuff at the house for birthdays?
I mean, occasionally, like twice a year.
Occasionally, okay. What about like? Do you guys ever get big loaves of bread to eat with those pork tenderloins, like French bread or?
She actually makes her own bread.
Okay,
so.
very cool. Very, very cool. That is awesome, by the way. I may have her send me a loaf if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
I'll give you a free knife. Okay. And then, like, for Christmas, Thanksgiving, are you guys having family over to your house?
We usually travel.
Okay, cool. Are you ever doing, like, do you guys ever have parties as far as, like, having friends over? You do, like, a whole roast chicken or something like that?
Just usually a couple friends, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, good deal. Well, I want to walk you through a few of these pieces, and what's going to happen is if I was there, I would definitely cut up some food with you, show you how each piece works. But what this is going to do is it's got some videos on how each piece works, and since I asked you those questions, I really have a good idea of how you're cooking, which helps us out a little bit. It's also going to save us a little bit of time. So go ahead and click the right arrow, and it should zoom in on the paring knife.
Okay.
If you click the right arrow again, it should start the video.
Yep.
So on a lot of these, he goes through a few different options or different uses of the knives. But again, we already talked about, like, for your paring knife, you're probably doing, are you doing more like apples and potatoes or kiwis, or are you doing like strawberries, bananas, any of that good stuff?
Probably potatoes, bananas.
Okay, good deal. So then we know that that's what you're using it for. So from time to time, I may just have you go ahead and click the right arrow, since we can. So there you'll see bananas and stuff like that. It goes through there pretty easily. Ours actually, it has you'll see how he's got like that extra inch or so on the handle.
Mm-hmm.
Ours has a full size handle, just to give you better control and safety as you're doing a lot of that paring. I don't know if you've eaten dinner or not yet, but I'm getting pretty hungry.
Looks pretty good.
My stomach just growled. You didn't hear that, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay, cool. So there you go with some potatoes. Are you I gotta ask you, Daniel, I'm not the greatest at pairing like that. Are you a pro like he is? Can you go all the way around towards you?
I usually just use a vegetable peeler.
Oh, I thought you said you did the paring knife with the potatoes.
I mean, I just use them to slice them.
Okay, cool. All right, good deal. Well, go ahead and click the right arrow for me.
Okay.
And here's your trimmer. I know you said you were doing like tomatoes or bell peppers or stuff like that for like kebabs. Have you ever smushed one like with one of the serrated edge knives in your set?
Oh, yeah.
Check this bad boy out. Stomach growled again. Did you hear that one?
No, I didn't.
Okay. This is killing me.
That's paper thin.
That is paper thin. I really appreciate it just because I really do like fresh tomatoes. A lot of my customers do, and also from time to time it is just going to be fun to pull out a tomato and just have a contest with your wife, like who can get the most thin slice. So that's a piece you feel like you would use, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. So click a right arrow for me. You'll see the spatula. Click the right arrow again, and he's going to be putting like cream cheese on bagels. Or are you guys ever doing bagels or English muffins in the morning?
Yeah, sometimes like toast and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, are you a cream cheese guy, or are you just like a butter and jelly?
Cream cheese all the way.
Cream cheese. Do you do any like crazy flavorings like hazelnut or?
Sometimes like if I go to Panera, I do. Yeah.
Panera's got the choices, Daniel.
Yeah.
They got to be the OG. I gotta tell you, I love the spatula spreader. You'll see him doing some like cutting up some brownies and stuff. If your wife ever does those. You know that little machine that they throw the bagels through at Panera?
Mhm.
You ever wanted one of those?
I mean, it'd be cool.
I'm right there with you. I'm trying to make myself seem a little bit cooler by not saying that I'm dying for one, but I'm dying for one.
That's
So, as far as that goes, I mean, the big thing I feel like you would use it for is probably going to be sandwiches or bagels, things like that. Or are you ever doing brownies or anything?
not very often.
No? Okay. I think the next thing he'll do, yeah, the old classic, the OG, PB&J. You a PB&J guy?
Yeah, definitely.
Crunchy or smooth? Crunchy or creamy?
Crunchy.
My man. All right, go ahead and click the right arrow for me.
Okay.
Should zoom in on the petite carver and turning fork. You see that?
Yep.
So this is one we talked about using on the like pork tenderloin, all those good things. Now he's gonna be using it obviously on just one of those like whole chickens you can get from Kroger or Publix, whatever it may be.
Right.
It's kind of more like an everyday carving set, but then individually you could just use the turning fork to like flip bacon over on I'm going back to the meat eater. You probably do a lot of bacon, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool. So it makes it pretty easy to flip over. You'll also see him using it as a carving set for like a pineapple.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty unique. I got to tell you, I never thought of doing that, but it does save you a little bit of money. Like if you're a pineapple fan, you know the big like you see it sitting in the clear container. It's like a perfectly cored pineapple sitting in its own juices, peeled.
Right.
Looks awesome. It's like $4, $5, $6 depending on where you buy it.
Right.
That's why I can actually save you a little bit of money because you just buy it whole for half the amount of money. You just cut it yourself.
Right.
Pretty beneficial. So he continues to go through a little bit more fruit here, but we already know you would use this for the like pork tenderloin, or you could do the pineapple like you saw him do.
Okay.
So give me a right arrow.
All right.
And you see the heavy duty knife.
Mhm.
So this goes to like what we were talking about earlier with your pineapple, or especially like watermelon, or any like frozen foods. Do you ever freeze any meat?
Yeah, like sometimes if we make too much of it at once.
Okay, cool. So like this would be the knife to use on that. Just kind of like a protector of a set. Cool thing a lot of my customers like is that, and I know he's kind of got like a baby watermelon here. I don't know why he went with such a small one. But a lot of my customers like it because even on those larger melons, you're not going to have to like cut and rotate. You know what I'm talking about? All right. Cool. So just for the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and pause it. But I think you guys can see the kind of the flow that I'm going with. Any questions on why I did what I did? Or anything about the virtual? Or comments? No? Okay.